Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Average Woman Podcast. I am that lady, Miss Nicole, coming at you today with another topic that is near and dear to my spirit. So let's get into it. Today, let's talk about what is a traditional woman, or let's describe what a traditional woman is. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Today, we're kicking it about a traditional woman. So let's begin. So the perfect example of a traditional woman would be that down south grandmama, the one with the apron and the dress on and the head covered up and the sweets rolled up and pulling things out of her boobs, money and all kind of different things. She keep it tucked away in her bra. That is a traditional woman. That is what got us through the 70s. Okay, these traditional grandmamas got us through the 70s, early 80s, maybe got us through. Okay, and a lot of these grandmamas running around no more. You know, the ones that's baking and telling us what the right thing to do, whether it hurt our feelings or not. Those grandmamas that just every Sunday they make big dinners. Every holidays they cooking for their family and loving on us and guiding us and teaching us right from wrong and telling us, we got to be a family. We got to love one another. Those were our traditional women. And yes, we know they may not have been the best, but they are all that we had to go by, to depend on, to acknowledge, and they actually led the blueprint. And we're going to talk about some things that made them traditional that we've lost our way about. And some things that, that made them, maybe some things that made them not so happy. When we come back after this message, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Age Woman Podcast. I'm that lady, Nicole. You can hit me up on NicoleArcher.com. I'm always available. Queen from Creation at NicoleArcher.com is my email. I'm always here to assist you. Good Herbs is my line of teas that I customly make, teas and coffees that I customly make for you to improve your health and to get you to reach some of those goals you've been wanting to reach in a natural way. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be right back after these messages. Hey, thanks for listening to my podcast. If you ever wanted to have your very own podcast, I can tell you how to set it up right now. Anchor is an awesome app that's free to download. You can use its creation tools to edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast so that you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more other platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenerships. And also, it has everything that you need in one place. All you need to do is go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I look forward to hearing your new podcast any day now. Thanks. And now back to the show. All right, and we are back. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Average Woman Podcast. I am still that lady, Miss Nicole, coming at you today. So let's get into it. So we're talking about a traditional woman. So what is a traditional woman? A traditional woman was our down south grandmothers. That was our traditional woman. The women that cooked for every Sunday, that feared God, that kept granddaddy happy, that raised a whole bunch of children and loved them children, that passed on that love from generation to generation. That is that traditional woman values that we missing from today. We have gotten so accustomed to always wanting our feelings to be considered, our feelings, that we ignore the truth. And one thing that I loved about my one thing I loved about the learnings that I got from my grandmother is that she gonna give it to you raw. No matter how you feel about it, she gonna tell you the truth. And you need the truth in order to grow. You need to know the truth. If you if you got a $10 bill and you don't know that that's a $10 bill, you think it's a $5 bill, and you go into the store and somebody can take advantage of you and take $5 from you and some change because you don't know how to count. Because you think something is what it isn't. That's why the truth is important. You know, we have to, everything that we teach our kids these days matter. Traditional women do not entertain the trending and current events and different things like that. They're not hot to hop on the trail and jump on the bandwagon of today's thought processes and today's women, talk women. A traditional minded woman does not follow the view. She doesn't listen to women of these days because she knows that she has a certain standard that she wants to live by, and she understands that the women of today don't live by the way that they used to. A traditional minded woman has to unplug from America and has to unplug from what she's learned is acceptable and okay. A traditional minded woman does not accept the daily norm. Okay, she holds herself to a higher level of standards and care for herself. You understand? So we have become so used to other people taking care of us. Like I saw one of my sisters, you know, she's getting her feet rubbed and getting her fingernails done and everything. And why you can't do that for yourself? Why is it a luxury to have somebody do something for you that really our grandmamas didn't ever do anything like that? They didn't go get their toes and fingernails and stuff done like that. They didn't do those things. If they did have their fingernails painted, they did that on their own, and they took care of themselves to make themselves presentable and loving for their man. So we spend money on totally stupid things that's really ain't gonna benefit us no kind of way, and we lose a lot by not thinking about how we spend our money. Traditional women, they count their money. They're not cheap with their money, but their money is going to be spent properly and accordingly. They're going to spend money on things that they need. Like when we reviewed the Proverbs 31 woman. The Proverbs 31 woman, she saved up her money to buy a vineyard. Okay, and so when not only did she have to buy the land, but she have to buy, a vineyard. Depending on how you stake up the grapes, some use metal and wood, some use metal fencing. She had to buy that. She got to buy the seeds. She got to buy the fertilizer. She got to buy everything gotta get some help, or hire some workers, or either she doing it herself, depending on how big the property is. You have to be able to manage your money and not spend your money on foolishness. You need to be, when you work, you need to be working to get an investment on the money that you spend. Because that's what's important. Getting an investment and some type of return on the money that you putting out here. Not just throwing our money away like money is burned and everything. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous how wasteful we are, and the things that we find are that we think are important, that's really not. Especially when we have kids. Every dollar matters when you have children, because your kids need things. Your kids they having all these toy drives and things for needy children. How is it that our children are needy when we spending all this money at the hair stores? We spending money getting our fingernails done. None of these kids should be needy. Every kid should come back with a backpack. But we don't have our priorities in order. Traditional women don't allow their kids to learn everything about life in school. School can teach them some things, but we're going to teach them common sense. We're going to teach them their culture and how they are supposed to behave. We're going to teach them manners, and we're going to teach them how to be taught. We're supposed to teach them that before they leave the house. Traditional women, they know that. They know that you can't go and expect someone else to give you all your knowledge. You can't expect that. You have to input knowledge into your children, their computers. You have to do that. And traditional women took time to teach their kids. They took time to love on their kids and grow and nurture their kids to be better. And that's what we're missing. We're missing the opportunity to be better. And we have to take advantage of that more than ever, because we're so broken as people. We got all these issues and insecurities and different things. Back in the days, women had to accept what they were and fix it and just work with what they had. Now we feel like we can just reinvent the wheel and a guy is supposed to like it, and it's not. That's not how men are. Men like what men like. Just like women like what women like, men like what they like. And unfortunately, you have to be that type of woman that type of man likes. If it's a biker dude, then you need to be a biker chick. You understand what I'm saying? That's how it works. And traditional women know this. If Cleavon like to be at the juke joint on Friday night, she might come down there and hang out with him. Mabel might come down there and hang out with him for a while or whatever after she done got the kids and the food and everything else done. But she'll see him when he get at home. She not about to be at the club every night because he working. He not just hanging out or whatever he doing. She not going to be hanging out with him all the time because she got a house and children to think about. That's how traditional women were. And traditional men as well. Now, I'm not going to say you didn't have derelicts. You have derelicts all over the place. But we're talking about the shit that works. Everything else get thrown out with the baby water. We're not going to talk about shit that don't work and shit that don't make no sense, because that doesn't help us. We need to talk about what works and how can we change things for the better. Not entertain, well, I feel like this. We're not talking about how we feel. We're talking about what works. In order to become that Proverbs 31 woman that you desperately so desire to be, which is that perfect wife to that man that God sends you to, you got to understand that your money matters. You got to have a plan. You got to have your shit together. And the thing about it is that what we fail to realize is that by the time women are supposed to mature faster than men. Okay, we all know that we are supposed to mature faster than men. So by the time a traditional woman is presented herself to a man, or she is presented to the man, or the man presents himself to her, however you want to put it, by the time everybody is presented to one another, that woman already has skills and things to bring to the table to him. She already knows that she needs to be feminine. She needs to be soft-spoken. She knows that she needs to be able to cook. She knows that she needs to be able to listen. She knows that she needs to be able to be mature enough to handle the things that life is going to throw at her while she is with this man. She knows that she gonna have to do things that she don't want to do sometimes. And it's not going to be comfortable and it's not going to be easy. But there is no other way. Either you be the woman that he wants or you get replaced. That's usually how it go. And traditional women know that, and they accept that, because that is what we desire. Our number 1 and 2 and 3 priority is to have a man, keep a man, and love a man. In no particular order. We're not worrying about our happiness, because our happiness come in the things that we do. We find happiness in our life sharing it with somebody. We don't expect somebody to make us happy. Traditional women find happiness in what they do, because a woman is going to be known by her works. So you got to work that thing to make yourself happy. The Proverbs 31 woman, she wouldn't got her a vineyard because maybe she be tired of being at home all the time. She get the kids out there in the vineyard to help her till the land and do different things. That's how that's how it works. And you are an extraordinary woman when you put your mind to things. But you got to put your mind to right things. If your desire is to be a more traditional minded woman, you got to start thinking about your actions and stop doing what you want to do, but do what's right. do what's right and understand that your actions matter. The truth matters. And at the end of the day, if you want to live your life and you want to have a certain type of vibe in your life, you got to put out a certain type of vibe too. And that's just the way it is. And I love it. Being a traditional woman, she cooks. A traditional woman knows how to cook. You're not going, back in the days, our grandmamas didn't go out to eat a lot. I don't think that my mama ain't never took us out to eat. She always cooked. We might got a pizza, but my mama never, ever, ever, ever allowed us to eat out. She always cooked. And I think that's a beautiful thing. We women should be cooking. Why are we not cooking? We're hanging out at the stores. We don't want to cook. And then when we cook in garbage. So that's not good. Like, not only do we need to learn some cooking skills, but we also have to learn how to feed our family correctly to avoid them getting illnesses and just not having a healthy life. You can't expect to raise young Einsteins and future presidential leaders and stuff letting the kids eat noodles all the time. That ain't how it works. You got to invest in your children. And our traditional mothers, they knew that. They knew that. Our traditional mothers, they knew that. They allowed us to they allowed us to have our say and do our thing, but they kept us grounded with the truth. And they fed us, even though they was feeding us that pork, they still tried to kick in some vegetables and different things, So your kids, you got to feed your kids right. Your kids got to be able to eat, have good things to eat. Can't live off of noodles. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm out here zipping up my greenhouse. Your kids can't live off of noodles. That's just not gonna work. You have to cook. You need to develop the skills that you need to pay the bills. That way you get some respect. Don't you want respect? A woman gonna be known by her works. You got to be able to cook and take care of your family. That's just not even optional. I'm sorry if you think it is, but it's not. You got to know how to cook. And you should also know how to feed your kids. Every woman, every Southern lady used to have some type of plants or some type of food they grow. Every Southern lady grows some type of food. Used to. My grandmama, she was big on growing peppers. That lady knows she had hot peppers too. And I was like, oh, them peppers is just too much. But she would grow hot peppers for us and put them in everything. And she would cook, and we would be happy. People, if you ever want your house to be just peaceful, feed your family. Feed your family. It should never be a time when your kids feel like we ain't got nothing to eat or ain't enough. Traditional women make sure that it's enough. We ain't about to live like, oh, I'm just gonna open this one pack of chicken. Nah, I'm gonna open the whole pack. I'm gonna fry it, and I might cook two packs, depending on how many of us is here. We should not be so closed-minded to think that it's not enough. We can make it enough. Right? We got to love our family. We got to make sure that our kids and our husband have food and clothing. When the seasons change, it's time to buy new clothes. Every year you got to make sure they got a jacket, they got shoes. Traditional women think like that. They know that school's coming back, so they're going to start putting aside some money so that they can buy school clothes and shoes and make sure their kids have their things. Because that's what's important to them. Modern women feel like, I don't know, because I don't even entertain modern women feelings. But I think that It's only one way to raise a healthy and productive child, and that's by showing them love and listening to them and correcting them when they're going off and encouraging them to think like an adult and put away that childishness. And I just encourage you ladies to do the same. Put away that childishness. Grow yourself. Challenge yourself to be better. Read about the Proverbs 31 woman. This isn't my words. This is the words of the Bible. This is what a woman is. This is your gold standard. And do what you can to align yourself up with that. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be, but you could be the Proverbs 31 woman 0.0, 0.2 or something like that. You could get to that. You can complete certain verses. You might not be able to sew the clothes, but you can get somebody you can go and buy something and order your clothes. You know what I'm saying? As long as you make sure your babies got what they need, you being a good mother. As long as you make sure your husband and your house is running smoothly, you being a good wife and a mother and a team player. But if your house is out of order, if your children are out of order, if your relationship is out of order, then you out of order. Because it's only one way to do shit, y'all, and it's the right way. We gotta be more inclined to start doing things the right way and stop trying to do what we want to do and fuck shit up. We gotta get back to our old traditional ways. The best part about being a traditional woman, is that those women feared God. They feared God. They feared God. Even though America said that they saw that the times was changing, but they still chose to be the same way, even into the 70s, even into the 80s, despite what society was doing and everybody else was doing. Those women still held on to their integrity and their dignity. And I encourage you women to get back to that. There's nothing out here that will hold you accountable to become the woman that you are supposed to be. You have to hold yourself accountable. And the way that you hold yourself accountable is you hold yourself to a standard. I don't care what everybody else doing. I'm telling you what I'm doing. That might be good enough for you, but that's not good enough for me. I'm going to take mine up a step further. Because that's just the quality of life that I want for my children, because I didn't have that. Or that's the quality that I want to see in my relationship because I didn't see that. Or this is the kind of quality that I want to have for my life because this is just what I need for myself to be what I need. And I told you, you're not giving up anything. What are you giving up? You're going home. You're not worrying about the world, trying to be at every party, trying to be in everybody's face. You're at home. You got an amazing crew at the house that's waiting for you to show up and show out and teach them something and love them and look into their eyes and make them feel like they are your number one priority, and they should be. And if they're not, you're not doing right by them. If they're not your number one priority, you're not doing right by them. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to tell you. If you worried about everybody else, you all in everybody else's face at everybody else's house doing the most, you're not loving them. And they deserve your love and they deserve your respect. That's just the way it is, ladies. I don't make the rules. I don't. I wish I did make the rules. But I would make the rules the way that they are. And I would make us abide by the rules because the rules are there for a reason. The rules are for your improvement. And I know that you could be better if you're willing to change and give up your current mindset. Because your current mindset got you bugged out. But we're going to get you right. And with that, shalom.